They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry! With 0.6 of a second remaining.
With the background context and data collection of their time together done, we move on to the trade itself. Here in Findings, we'll look into what actually transpired between February 1st, 2025 and February 4th, 2026.
Breaking news tonight from the Lakers, a late-night trade that is just stunning the NBA.
Pinger's here. He's been watching what's happening. Pink?
Yeah, this is a stunner. Comes out of nowhere. The Lakers needed a face for the future, and now they have Dallas's Luka Doncic. It certainly was a wow move for both franchises out of nowhere. Anthony Davis is going to be with Dallas now, and call it really the best kept secret when it comes to trade news. This happened like 40 minutes ago, out of nowhere. Like literally out of nowhere. I did confirm it with my NBA sources.
We're just receiving word of a massive trade in the NBA. The Lakers have traded Anthony Davis to the Dallas Mavericks in exchange for Luka Doncic.
What?
In a 3-team deal. You can listen to that on SportsCenter later on tonight with Kevin Connors and Amina Smith after this game. They'll have
the breaking news, the most unlikely of breaking news. The Dallas Mavericks have traded Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers in exchange for Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first-round pick.
Dallas was in shock. Luka was in shock. The entire sports world was in shock. The Wonder Boy had been traded in the middle of the night to the Los Angeles Lakers for an incredibly underwhelming package that included Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a single first-round draft pick. The news was so shocking that most people's immediate reaction was to chuckle at the fact that Shams Charania had obviously been victim of a hacking. But it was true.
This deal materialized in the shadows. This came out of nowhere. This is maybe the most stunning trade, definitely that I've been a part of in recent NBA history, as far as it was never clearly out there. And you saw two teams in Rob Pelinka with the Lakers, Dallas Mavericks, Nico Harrison there, doing this deal. And I'm told Luka Doncic, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, the players, coaches, a lot of people on both sides with the Mavericks and Lakers had no idea. I can assuredly tell you it's a fact. LeBron James had no idea this was coming. Anthony Davis had no idea this was coming. I'm told Luka Doncic is still stunned about this trade.
The most shocking trade, I think, in the history of the NBA, at least from a shock value. Oh my God, is this real? Has Shams been hacked? What is happening? Rob Mahoney is here. Ryan Russillo is here. It took me about 10 minutes to figure out, was this real? And then Shams, obviously, he had to retweet. No, this is real.
Yeah, certainly stunning like the rest of us. When I saw the Shams tweet last night, I actually thought he did get hacked to the point where I didn't want to retweet him because I didn't want to lose my job at ESPN. I picked up the phone. I said, "Are you good?" And he says, "Yeah, we're good. We're good." So there is certainly a stunning moment today.
I'm shocked like most, if not the entire basketball world appears to be. It's not something that you would have ever anticipated, primarily from the Dallas Mavericks. Luka Doncic is a global star. There's a lot of speculation as to why that may have happened. Did he want out? Did something happen that the team said, okay, enough's enough, let's get rid of him? We don't know the answers to that question at this particular moment in time, but that's speculation.
You hear burbling with players of his caliber all the time of like, oh, if it ever got to the point, then maybe the Lakers or a team like that would be consulted. If it ever reached a certain threshold, but I'm completely blindsided by this, as apparently is most of the league, including many of the players in it.
Russillo?
I couldn't believe it. I mean, I was getting texts and then I was like checking with people. And then with Bobby Marks was like, hey, this is real. Like Shams had to say, I'm not hacked above it. And then Bobby Marks above that had to be like, this is real, because the headline of it is that it makes no fucking sense at all. And whatever we're going to go all over the place and try to figure it out. But like, you have traded at worst the third best player in the NBA. And when he's right, probably the second best guy. And you've traded him at this age and you've completely reset the Lakers in a way that is basically impossible.
This kicked off one of the great media spectacles in the history of professional sports. rivaling OJ's Bronco chase and the Steve Bartman incident. No one could believe it. They traded Luka Doncic at 25? Why would Dallas even consider that?
It doesn't make sense. I'm sorry. It does not make sense. There's no scenario where the Dallas Mavericks trading Luka Doncic, a player who was their franchise, who was very openly their franchise, was very openly the guy who was going to be here, the guy who was the next Dirk, the guy who was, taking Dirk's place in so many ways. And so, like, it does. I'm sorry. There's no explanation that makes sense to me.
I would have never thought Luka Doncic get traded at this age, mid-season. Yes, NBA is a wild place, man. If he can get traded, then anybody's up,
It's got to be the biggest trade I've seen since I've been in the league or since I've been watching the sport. This is insane.
And if they were, why for Anthony Davis of all people?
Davis already just got hurt a week ago. He's been up and down the whole time. And I just think these are two different classes of players, as great as Davis is. There's Luka, SGA, Jokic, Giannis, Tatum. And now we're starting to drop a little bit to some other next level of person. You can win the finals with Luka as your best guy if you can put the right people around him.
How is it possible that Luka is worth 1 first-round pick in a world where Mikal Bridges is worth 5? And he's going to the Los Angeles Lakers, of all places? The premier villains from the franchise's earliest runs of contention in the 80s? The approval rating of the trade, both in the city of Dallas and nationally, ranked right up there with W's in 2008.
This is ridiculous. This is crazy, man. We went to the NBA Finals. Why are we trading the best player, the franchise player? How are we trading the franchise player? We went to the NBA Finals. He's supposed to have a statue. Hell yeah. He's supposed to have a statue.
In this place, American Airlines, the Mavericks, this was my safe place. And now I have nothing.
We love you, Luka. My kids were supposed to watch you. My kids, this was supposed to be their childhood, Luka. We love you, Luka. Please come back to us.
And one person that texted me said that it looks like I've been crying. I haven't been crying. I have been drinking quite a bit, so I cannot promise coherence over the next 30 minutes to an hour or whatever it is. But to say that this was a surprise would be the biggest understatement of all time.
Nobody thought this trade made any sense at all for Dallas. They had swapped a 25-year-old super-duper star for an injury-prone star that was nearly 6 years older. The immediate question became, who could have possibly agreed to this? The answer to that question leads us to the last and least of our 3 central figures from the story. The architect of this move was in fact Nico Harrison, and in the immediate aftermath, here's what he had to say on the deal.
We definitely understand the magnitude of what just transpired. It's not lost on us. Definitely would like to thank Luka for his brilliance and, over the last, 4 years since we've been here, what we've been able to accomplish, as well as, Maxi Kleber. When he got hurt the other day and I go in the back and check on him and the first thing he says is sorry for getting hurt, but that just, kind of goes to the type of person he is. And then also Smooth, like he was such a great guy in the locker room. So I just want to, thank all those guys for their contribution to get us to where we're at. And then as we turn the page, I think it's important to know that Jay Kidd and I, we've had a vision in the culture that we want to create since we've been here. And the players that we're bringing in, we believe exemplify that. And, we think defense wins championships. And we're bringing in one of the best two-way players in the league. A lot of people don't talk about, what he does defensively and offensively. But, if you can name first-team All-NBA players that are also first-team All-Defensive players. That's a unique unicorn to try to find. And we're able to find that. And as well, you look at Max Christie. He was their starting two-guard, guarded all the top players in the league, and he's young and athletic and bouncy and, gets his hands on lots of balls. So we really feel that they're bringing in, they're adding into the culture that we're trying to create here. We feel that defense wins championships, and we're excited to go. We feel like we're built to win now as well as in the future.
The fact that the debacle was immediately dubbed the Luka Trade acted as foreshadowing that Harrison's view of Doncic and AD as legitimate equals was maybe a bit short-sighted. Clearly, Nico was a longtime fan of Anthony Davis's game, dating back to his time working at Nike when he and Davis first met. The Brow had once been one of the most promising prospects ever to come into the NBA. As a true freshman in 2012, he had been the frontman of John Calipari's national championship Kentucky Wildcats, earning National Player of the Year honors along the way.
Short into the arms of Davis, and the superior team all season long was the superior team tonight, and the Kentucky coronation is complete.
In 12 and a half seasons as a pro, Davis had been selected to 10 All-Star teams and was the second best player on the championship Los Angeles Lakers.
Rondo, he puts it in. Here's Davis, 4-3 in the win. Oh, it's good! Anthony Davis has won it for the Lakers!
He had also been a 4-time All-NBA first-teamer and was named the All-Defensive First Team on 3 occasions. His resume was impressive, downright Hall of Fame levels of impressive, and his two-way ability was better than that of Doncic, which is what led Nico to the whole defense wins championships quote in the first place. But Davis had not been asked to be the front man of a franchise since 2019, when he was playing for the Pelicans. For the past 5+ seasons, he had been playing the sidekick role for LeBron James on the Lakers, and in that less physically demanding role, he had still missed major time in 2021, 2022, and 2023 since the Lakers' title run in 2020. All of this contributed to many people coming out in the immediate aftermath to express their shock at the deal.
Even if you consider the trade value that you just laid out, Bill, none of those other guys are going to be available. None of those other guys are going to be on the market. No. So if you are going to trade Luka, it's going to be for someone in that next class, the Anthony Davis class of player. But you would think there would be more to it than this. You would think that there would be more supplementary pieces involved. And that's where all of this seems to have come together so fast. And I'm with you, Russell, like the acceleration from whatever instigating event, whether it was Luka coming to the Mavs or otherwise, from there to here, I don't understand why that period of time was fast-tracked to the degree that it was. We still have days left before the deadline.
I'm going to say this real quick. There's no logic to any of this. I don't care who spins it, what Nico says to try and spin it. There's no logic to this.
Due to public scrutiny, Nico immediately felt pressure to justify the trade, leading to perhaps the greatest smear campaign of the 21st century.
This was about the Mavericks betting against Luka Doncic being able to fulfill his potential. There has been extreme frustration building in that franchise over the years, and especially this season, about his lack of commitment to conditioning, to diet, to the lifestyle that's necessary at this point to be available on a consistent basis. When he went out with that calf strain on Christmas, there wasn't sympathy within the Mavericks organization. There was frustration, even anger. They felt like he hasn't done the things to position himself to again, fulfill his potential and be available.
It's not a secret, Greeny. Everybody knows that people feel in the industry, around teams, opposing players, all-time great players like Charles, Luka's not in shape. He hasn't been in shape. He doesn't get there. Or he starts camp there. There are people out there now that I talked to yesterday saying he's like 265 pounds or north of it. That's not sustainable to be great. Ask Zion Williamson how that goes.
Obviously, Nico felt that Luka was not treating his conditioning as seriously as he could have, and that his defense was an insurmountable problem. And it is true that he was clearly not as much of a gym rat as Kobe Bryant, and was more or less a turnstile on defense, especially while laboring injuries in the 2024 playoffs. But leaking reports about the specifics of his weight gain, publicly questioning his work ethic, and all but calling him a fat bastard to the press, immediately raised massive red flags on the validity of the trade, even if you weren't a Doncic supporter.
But when you say out of shape, is he fat? Does he have a six-pack? Does he not have it? Like, are we talking body fat?
A lot of stories he's ballooned up to 270.
Because one of my best friends just told me fat Luka is better than 99.9% of all the guards in the game. So
even if they had some sort of crazy insights to his terrible diet habits, some sort of physical issues that maybe they're only aware of, I still would offer him the Supermax. He's Luka Doncic. He made the finals last year.
No doubt.
So I don't I
He could have
just
been
don't
smoking
understand
cigarettes,
this.
Bill. He could have been smoking cigarettes, bringing the ball up the fucking court, and I would still be like, when can we sign you to the Supermax?
People who are confident in their moves usually do not feel the need to defend themselves by any means necessary in the immediate aftermath of said decisions. This began an ongoing saga that we'll call Nico versus the media. In addition to the defense wins championships rhetoric,
Nico defended himself
with quotes like this.
Let's be clear, I'm the one making the decision, and Jay's supportive of it, so it's me. I don't do anything that's scary. I think everything that we do, we put a lot of work into it. We study it, and we re-study it, and we go back, and I understand the magnitude of it. So the easiest thing for me to do is do nothing, and everyone would praise me for doing nothing. But we really believe in it, and time will tell if I'm right.
Howdy, Malika. Hey, Rick Welts, the new CEO of the Mavericks, was also there. He really wanted to discuss potential plans for a new arena in Dallas next decade, but folks just kept going back to peppering Nico with questions about this trade that he made, the Luka Doncic deal. And hey, Nico doubled down, he tripled down, he quadrupled down. I could go on. I ran out of fingers counting how many times that he said defense wins championships. So he's sticking with that.
Yeah, Mavs GM Nico Harrison's long overdue presser had a little bit of everything. It was part mea culpa, while at the same time he doubled down. Honest moments followed by evasive ones, essentially like the Mavericks-centric events that have unfolded since the Luka trade. It was all over the place.
You said earlier you don't like to run from the media, but Nico, I am interested in your reasoning by having that roundtable discussion without any cameras or audio equipment, and then less than a week later having this meeting that we're in right now.
Good question. It was a collective thought process. It was meant to be more of like a roundtable discussion. The goal was that I answered all the questions today. I could talk about the team as it currently is and then what we do going forward. But because it fell flat today, that I'm answering the same questions I answered last week because we didn't do a good enough job.
Nico, what was the conversation like with Patrick Dumont when you introduced this idea to him?
The first time he laughed at me. No, I mean, Patrick, he's the owner. Obviously, he's the ultimate decision maker, but he entrusts in Jay Kidd and I to lead this team, and he's putting the trust into us. And then, obviously, you got to get judged on the performance that you've done as a leader. And at some point, if it doesn't work out, then I'll be judged for that.
On the other side of the move, a completely blindsided 25-year-old Luka was taking the news like a professional.
I'm curious, what's your reaction been the last 48 hours to some of the comments coming from Dallas on your way out the door to join the Lakers?
I'm just excited, to be here to start this new journey, and obviously at some point I knew this was going to happen, but I would say I always take the high road. I had my amazing moments in Dallas with all my teammates, coaches, and the most importantly, the fans. They always supported me, and it was an amazing journey.
His sadness at leaving the only NBA city he'd ever known felt genuine. Dallas had embraced him from the second he had arrived in the city. This wasn't some free agent signing. They had drafted and developed the Wonder Boy from day one. They had supported him through every bump in the road, front office-induced setback, and playoff loss along the way. There was no doubt for Luka or the fans of Dallas that he would inevitably bring another championship to the city.
Luka Doncic just spoke out for the first time since the trade from Dallas to the Lakers, and he released a statement on his social media saying, "Dear Dallas, 7 years ago I came here as a teenager to pursue my dream of playing basketball at the highest level. I thought I'd spend my career here, and I wanted so badly to bring you a championship. The love and support you all have given me is more than I could have ever dreamed of. For a young kid from Slovenia coming to the US for the first time, you made North Texas feel like home. In good times and bad, from injuries to the NBA Finals, your support never changed. Thank you not only for sharing my joy in our best moments, but also for lifting me up when I needed it most. To all the organizations I've worked with throughout the Dallas community, thank you for letting me contribute to your important work and join you in bringing light to those who need it. As I start the next part of my basketball journey, I am leaving a city that will always feel like a home away from home. Dallas is a special place, and Mavs fans are special fans. Thank you from the bottom of my heart."
Dallas understood that he is one of those great players that don't come around very often. Remember, this is not just another sports town. It is a highly sophisticated sports town that understands exactly what it takes to win. For this reason, some Metroplex area athletes resonate as winners, and others don't. Luka resonated, and just like that, he was gone in the middle of his prime. After taking the Mavs to the Western Conference Finals and the NBA Finals in the only 2 seasons where the Mavs could provide him a legitimate co-star, and after batting 1,000 on reaching the finals in years where he had Kyrie Irving, he was gone in the middle of his prime. He was being sent to a team in LA where he would be forced to play a supporting role in LeBron James's ongoing side quest of riding off into the sunset. Even with LeBron, the Lakers had way less depth than the Mavs, making a finals run in LA in 2025 highly improbable. The trade was so baffling and unprecedented that it made its way into a Kendrick verse within about 6 weeks of the move.
The numbers is nothing, the money is nothing, I really been held my promise. Say can't even heavy out west and I carry the weight, I'm Luka Doncic. Conspiracy theories is given, but I must admit it, you got the wrong person.
Think about that for a second. Nico Harrison's behavior was so out of pocket that it got Kendrick Lamar to turn his attention away from Drake in 2025.
Ain't you tired? Trying to strike a chord and it's probably A minor.
The trade also sent a clear message to the world that Mark Cuban had no real control over basketball operations.
They might tell me something after the fact, or now with Rick Welts in particular, if there's something going on where I've had experience, I'll reach out to him and just say, hey, expect this, and this. But from a basketball perspective, I hear about it after the fact. I don't hear about anything beforehand.
Otherwise, this trade would not have happened. Nico's only obstacle in executing this trade was convincing Patrick Dumas, the team's new governor, which, sadly, he was able to do. Dumas would later say this on the trade, and no, this quote is not meant to make you laugh out loud.
So, tough decisions are never easy. And part of leadership is looking at risk and looking at all the factors of a decision and being willing to act at that time and look to the long term and not only think about the short term or how it may be received immediately, but to think about the long-term benefits and what it may allow you to achieve if given all the right considerations. And I think for us, going into the trade deadline last year, we were not competitive. If you recall, we were not a playoff-bound team. And we were able to do some things to reconstruct the roster and enable the team to become very competitive. And after the trade deadline last year, we actually had the best record in basketball.
Now we're going to get back to this quote very soon, but first, let's wrap up some more of the findings from the last year since this monstrosity of a trade in the what we know for sure sense. Dallas was 19-10 when Luka had gone down that season. Without him, they went 8-15 between Christmas Day and February 8th. Dallas played their first home game post-Luka trade on February 8th against the Houston Rockets. The game doubled as the first of the AD Mavs era. On that day, the city of Dallas welcomed home the team and its GM with a public protest.
You put your trust in this organization, and they make this stupid change.
Fire Nico! Fire Nico!
It's one of the worst things that happened to the city of Dallas since JFK got shot, bro.
This is an extreme disappointment. I don't know how the hell this happened. I woke up in the middle of the night. I don't even know. I thought it was a dream. Chaos! Chaos! Let's just take a moment of time real quick. They don't give a damn about us. If they cared about us, they wouldn't have traded our entire franchise for peanuts. So, everybody out here, still matter. And thank you for being here. And do not stop. After this, you have to keep going. Keep putting on the pressure. And do not let up. Nico has to go. Bring Luka home. Bring Luka home. Bring Luka home. I was there last week. I was there at the funeral. I'm here today. I'll be there today. Nico has to go. Get him out of here. Get him out of here.
I really would just want to know why. Why?
I think it was a good trade for the Lakers. I don't know what the Mavs could possibly thought they were going to get out of this, but, thank you, Nico.
I was born and raised in Dallas my whole life. Luka gave us something to believe in. He gave us something to hope for. He gave us something to have faith in. Now without that, because the Cowboys ain't shit, all we had was Luka.
No one was happy. Anti-Nico merch was being sold in the streets of Nowitzki Way, and Fire Nico chants bellowed in the streets. It may or may not be the only non-relocation related public protest from an NBA fanbase in recorded history. The organization classily responded to the uproar by tossing out fans in the arena who wore anti-Nico merch, as all people confident in their decisions do. There was also the matter of removing Luka Doncic from edits played in the arena. AD looked good in his first Mavs game for about an hour and a half before he, unsurprisingly, went down with an injury.
The 7 assists for Anthony Davis. Oh, Anthony Davis went down to get hit in the midsection.
The irony was evident to everyone in the arena, minus the guy running the show. Davis would then go on to miss 21 of the Mavs' final 31 games of the season, as Dallas went from surefire contender to play-in losers. The team and its fans sat back and watched in horror as Kyrie, the fanbase's most treasured player in a post-Luka dystopia, tore his ACL in March. After that, they saw one player after another go down when their roles increased, leading to a nightmarish limp to the end of the season where the Mavs consistently struggled to dress enough players to play in their final games. Their final act of the 2025 season was so ugly that they watched as a home Dallas sellout crowd on April 9th, 2025 cheered on the Los Angeles Lakers while their jilted ex torched them for 45.
At guard, in his 7th season from Slovenia, number 77,
How long do you think they could cheer in every single possession? How long will that last? Is Doncic?
Because you know why? They had so many moments.
A lot of Lakers fans here, and they're always on the road, and Doncic knocks down a three-pointer.
That threes from Luka Doncic over the course of his career. He likes it going in this direction. He gets great balance. And
everybody is locked in on the final 5. Oh, Doncic locked in from the opening tip.
Already played against his Mavericks team at home. He got the emotion of seeing those guys that he went to the finals, seeing his coach Jason Kidd. Now he's coming home, yes, but one part of that emotion has already been gone because he played against them a while ago.
Of course, the more he scores, you get the Mavs fans, the little less they're cheering, and now they're starting the anti-front office chants again. They've been chanting Fire Nico throughout most of the first half. Nico Harrison, we said earlier, Nico Harrison last year during the trade deadline, he was rightfully so praised one of some of the best moves that any executive made, bringing in P.J. Washington, Daniel Gafford. That's a big part of why they made it. Doncic steps back, puts it in. Luka Doncic lighting it up here in the first half. He's got 31 points. Doncic gets inside. Reverse shot rattles around and goes in. He's got 40.
And just look, he's looking for his outlet. Is there any outlet? No, I'll just throw it left hand. But even for me, seeing that emotion in his eyes, it was, how is it going to be in the first half?
Doncic inside, puts it up and in. 45 for Doncic. He's going to commit a foul, and now we'll come out of the game. Night for Doncic that began in tears and it ends in triumph. Talk about your storybook return.
You said that you didn't know what your emotions were going to be like tonight. Just what were you feeling out there on the court?
I don't know, honestly. Everybody saw me the way I reacted to the video. You know, all these fans, I really appreciate it, man. All the teammates I had, you know, everybody had my back. So I'm just happy. This guy, I love these fans. I love this city. But it's time to move on.
Luka, now healthy from his rehab, returned to form and went on to average 30 points per game in the Lakers' first-round series with the Timberwolves. Just like it had in Dallas, Doncic's game only got better as the games got more important. The Lakers fell in that series, but ultimately were still smiling ear to ear at the utter fleece job they had seemed to have gotten away with. In the wake of the Mavs' play-in defeat, Nico was again put in front of his arch nemesis, the media.
When Luka comes back to town, the Lakers game's happening, and you're standing there, and there's thousands of people chanting for you to be fired. That's an experience that none of us, no one's chanting for for us to lose our jobs. Why shouldn't you be fired?
Well, one, I think I've done a really good job here, and I don't think I can be judged by the injuries this year. You have to judge from totality, from beginning to end. And so I think I have a really good working relationship with Patrick. I think you add in Rick. The leadership that we have is really elite. And you'll see next year when our team comes back, we're going to be competing for a championship.
Did the anger and outrage from the fan base, has that exceeded what you were kind of planning for?
Yeah, good question. I did know that Luka was important to the fan base. I didn't quite know it to what level, but really the way we looked at it is, if you're putting a team on the floor that's Kyrie, Clay, PJ, Anthony Davis, and Lively, we feel that's a championship caliber team, and we would have been winning at a high level, and that would have quieted some of the outrage. And so unfortunately we weren't able to do that, so it just continued to go on and on.
Listen, man, I consider you a friend of mine, Nico Harrison. I consider you a friend of mine. I wish you nothing but the best. I thought you did a good job last year with the Mavs, and obviously whatever happened this year didn't work out. Man, don't do no more press conferences. I don't even know what you're doing. I really don't. I got sympathy and love for you, but I have zero idea what you're trying to do. This war is over, brother. You got to taking the L.
In his defense, that lineup does sound pretty great, and if it was assembled in 2018, they would have been easily league favorites. Again, while Nico and the Mavs front office moved mountains to justify their decisions, Luka actually stayed classy.
There have been, on your way out of Dallas, some pretty pointed criticisms of you on the floor, off of the floor, even about your body.
It's painful, depends how you take it. Mostly it came from Dallas, so I just didn't want to talk back. But I don't really read that much stuff, and just trying to focus on my journey.
General Manager Nico Harrison of the Dallas Mavericks, he had this closed-door, no cameras meeting with reporters. The reporter said, "You didn't believe that the team that went to the finals last year with Luka as a centerpiece could contend and continue to contend for championships." And Nico Harrison said, "I'll say this again, defense wins championships." What do you say to that?
It's just sad the way he's talking right now. I never say anything bad about him, and I just want to move on. The fans, my ex-teammates, I always keep it hard. It's time for me to move on from that.
Have you spoken to Nico Harrison since you left Dallas?
No.
Have you spoken to him on the night that you were traded?
No.
Was your intention to finish your career in Dallas?
Of course. It's an easy question.
The Mavs' outlook at the conclusion of the 2025 regular season was grim. With Kyrie down for possibly all of 2025-2026, and AD's health looking like a massive question mark, it seemed like the Mavs had the potential to go from contender to doormat in near record time. Then, a miracle happened.
The second pick will be made by the San Antonio Spurs, and that means that the number one pick in the 2025 NBA draft goes to the Dallas Mavericks.
After entering the lottery with just 1.8% odds at landing the number one pick, the Dallas Mavericks won the rights to select at the top of the 2025 NBA draft. This sparked conspiracy theories left and right, the kind that Kendrick had been rapping about, due to the caliber of player expected to go first overall, that being Duke's Cooper Flagg.
Flagg on the attack with a slam and a foul! Oh, no!
Flagg was not your average, everyday projected top pick. He was a National College Player of the Year as a true freshman with future All-NBA written all over him. Thanks to his high-flying heroics and uncanny ability to get downhill, he averaged 19 points, 7.5 rebounds, and 6 assists per game and 2.8 stocks per game in his lone season in Durham playing for the Blue Devils. He was perceived as a sure thing, the kind of player too good to fail, regardless of how competent and stable the franchise that would select him was or wasn't. Think, ironically, Anthony Davis in 2012 or Zion Williamson in 2019. This was the kind of buzz that Flagg was drawing before he played his first game in the NBA. And he was suddenly going to the Dallas Mavericks, who had just lost a similarly hyped up wunderkind only weeks removed from the most obviously damaging move in franchise history. Interesting. Many immediately argued that the league orchestrated both the lottery and the trade in order to pad the Lakers' roster while also making good on the loss to Dallas. In the conspiracy theorist's defense, the league has been accused of helping the Lakers, Jerry Buss's old team, on numerous occasions. In particular, there's the time they happened to swipe Pau Gasol for what was at the time a pile of meaningless assets.
You didn't give up Lamar Odom either, and you still got Fisher and Kobe? Please, this is a beautiful deal.
The time they had no assets to acquire Anthony Davis, and then conveniently jumped 10 spots in the lottery. And then, of course, the time they, acquired Luka Doncic for 10 cents on the dollar. Whenever the Lakers need a get-out-of-jail-free card, one seems to fall into their lap. Additionally, there are numerous occasions of a franchise desperate for an assist from the league happening to coincidentally win the lottery in that same season. The Pelicans won it in 2012 and 2019 after losing Chris Paul and Anthony Davis to trade demands. And the Cleveland Cavaliers won it in 2011 immediately after LeBron James bolted for Miami. For these reasons, it didn't seem too far-fetched to think that the league could kill two birds with one stone by getting the Lakers back to legitimate contention while also making good on the move for Dallas in the long run while a premier college prospect was available. Basketball corruption of the highest order.
Do you know what they're doing up in the sweep? They're picking the next president.
But the crazy thing is, the theory that I have just laid out is actually the fun one. The much, much darker theory is that Dumont and the Adelsons wanted fan morale to steep so low in the aftermath of the Luka trade that they could justify moving the team to Las Vegas, where the family made its fortune.
The Mavericks have lost over 1 million followers in the last 48 hours. Mavericks fans have shown up with coffins. Mavericks fans have shown up giving away their season tickets.
You see, Sheldon Adelson, Miriam's late husband, wasn't just any Las Vegas rich dude. He was the founder and CEO of the Las Vegas Sands Corporation. So it's safe to assume that the family is a lot more ingrained in the city's sinful inner workings and long-term planning than not at all, even after Sheldon's death. Considering that the legalization of casino gambling has never gained any traction in Texas, maybe this situation was a lot less innocent than previously thought. Maybe they knew that a Dallas casino was a near impossibility. Maybe they knew that the project would get squashed within a couple years, paving the way for relocation.
Now I want to put together a team that'll help us relocate to Miami.
You want us to lose?
We've been losing. What I want is for us to finish dead last.
A very similar thing did happen about 20 years ago when an Oklahoma real estate guy bought the Seattle Supersonics, pitched a publicly funded arena to Washington taxpayers that he knew would get shot down, and then within 2 years moved the team to Oklahoma City, creating the Thunder. That theory caught on so much that the Adelsons and NBA Commissioner Adam Silver both had to come out and publicly deny its legitimacy.
I have absolutely no knowledge or believe there were any ulterior motives. There's no doubt in my mind that the Dumont-Adelson families bought that team to keep it in Dallas. I have no doubt whatsoever that they're committed to the long-term success of that franchise.
So we exited Las Vegas. We have our corporate office there. We have some research facilities there. We have some operational facilities there that we use as a test bed for certain of our operations, but we have no customer-facing operations in Las Vegas today. Our goal is to invest in Dallas. Our goal is to invest in North Texas. That was our plan from the beginning, and that's actually how we came to the Mavericks. The reason why I'm here today is because I've known Mark Cuban for a long time. He's a dear family friend. I love Mark. And we started talking about the opportunity to invest in North Texas. And as we started that discussion, we began to talk about the value of destination resorts, how it brings a new industry to Texas, and we can talk about that in a bit. But the idea was, as part of this, we would build a multitude of amenities to drive both business and leisure tourism, and one of those amenities would be an arena. We actually operate for-profit arenas today. So I'm familiar with the business, and I started speaking with Mark about his view on arenas and what it could mean for North Texas. And that ultimately evolved into the discussion and then where we got to today. So, from my standpoint, our desire is to invest in North Texas, create an unbelievable home for the future of the Mavericks, and invest here in scale in our family's other business, which is destination resorts. The idea of moving to Vegas makes no sense to me. It's actually completely opposite of what we're attempting to do, as so evidenced by our actions. And so, no, the team is never moving to Las Vegas. We bought the Dallas Mavericks. It's going to stay the Dallas.
You might add.
Now, the following has been confirmed by Maverick sources. The Adelsons purchased the Mavs and land in Irving with, quote, full intentions of building an entertainment district anchored by a casino and a new Mavericks arena, so long as the state of Texas legalizes casino gambling. Now again, if you're familiar with Texas politics, you know that the last part of that sentence is a major hypothetical. But with a vote on the topic being on the horizon in early 2025, I guess that would have been the time to tank fan enthusiasm. Now there are some massive wrenches in both of these theories to discuss later, but for now, let's get back to the actual roster. Dallas drafted Flagg number 1 overall, and even though the 19-year-old would be on a completely different timeline as Dallas's aging core, and would likely have trouble early on creating for a team with a sudden dearth of spacing, Nico had fun for a bit, flexing his dumb luck to the media.
Things happen. Fortune favors the bold. So exciting things fell our way.
While this was happening, Luka underwent a significant physical transformation in order to prove his old boss wrong. He was featured on the cover of Men's Health magazine and was quoted as saying he wanted to start training as soon as Los Angeles was eliminated in the first round of the playoffs.
Exactly. So it was just diet and exercise, that's it.
Yeah.
No Ozempic, none of those shots or anything.
The Lakers brass understood that Luka was the team's priority over an aging LeBron James, and immediately went out to get buy low players that they felt like would play well with Doncic specifically. Guys like Marcus Smart and DeAndre Ayton. Nico, alternatively, addressed his hole at point guard by signing a one-legged Kyrie to a 3-year, $119 million extension, and signing D'Angelo Russell in free agency. The D'Angelo Russell that the Lakers had kicked to the curb after being rendered completely useless in a pair of playoff series against Denver. The Kyrie extension, I won't argue. That one is easy to second guess after the injury, even if it had come with massive risk anyways. But bringing in D'Lo to facilitate the offense in his stead, that was one of those decisions that was easy to first guess.
I'm not really worried about someone to run the offense. I think we got enough guys that can handle the ball and play multiple positions, but just someone to get us organized.
Just like flipping a 25-year-old Quentin Grimes for a 29-year-old Caleb Martin was an easy decision to first guess. The Mavs stuck by Nico and his, quote, vision during the offseason, excited to showcase their new Anthony Davis, Cooper Flagg-led squad that was expected internally to fight to have the league's best defense immediately. Opening day for the 2025-2026 season pit the Mavs against the Spurs for the second year in a row. But the squad led by Anthony Davis provided a far different tone-setting game than the inspiring Luka and Klay Thompson show that had come 1 year prior.
Davis on the attack, altered by Wembanyama. Spurs jump in front, 9-8, first quarter action. Davis the deep catch. Wembanyama there for the block. From Dallas. Slow the advance. Oh my! The tomahawk! Guarded by Washington. Wembanyama the save! The reverse! And the foul! A figment of our basketball imagination. Wemby shakes, takes, and slams! It's absurd!
We're talking about the Dallas Mavericks with a front line of Anthony Davis and Derek Lively, two defensive guys, and Victor Wembanyama made them look like young fellas. All across the board, from the defensive end with the blocks.
Life for Mavs fans didn't get any better from there. The team predictably had no spacing, a dearth of creators, and were forcing poor Flagg to play out of position as a point guard to make up for the immediate sunk cost of D'Angelo Russell's $5.6 million salary. They started the season 3-8, which placed them at 14 out of 15 teams in the Western Conference standings. Worse, in La La Land, Luka was dominating, scoring 37 points, 9 rebounds, and 9 assists per game for a Lakers team that leapt out to an 8-3 start.
All the way, Luka! Throw it down with 2 hands!
Wow, Luka don't do that to me. Doncic, 5 on the shot clock, step back,
With the dribble, the spin. Mitchell, of course, their best defender is on him. Look at this. Whip pass cross court by Luka.
I have no idea. I have no idea how that pass got through. I don't know how it got through the defenders. They're back in half court. Look at that thing. It's just a shoulder length.
They're backboard a little more.
Luka from the logo.
Man. He's got to be careful.
Doncic doubled. Looking. Finds Hachimura wide open. Boy, that was tough to see that. He was surrounded. And Hachimura finally gives him that assist.
Lakers' latest win over the Spurs. Luka dropped 35. The Lakers won their 5th in a row. They looked really good. It was a weird game. It was like 3 hours long. Stephen A., the Lakers are 7-2, and that's without LeBron, who's out for another week or two with an injury. How impressed have you been with the Lakers so far this season?
I've been incredibly impressed, and I'm getting very, very excited because I'm thinking there's a chance I might be in Southern California in June. That's how I'm feeling about it.
At this point, it had gone from hard to impossible to justify any part of the Luka trade to the media. And worse for Nico, it had gone from hard to impossible to justify any part of the Luka trade to his boss. The Mavs were clearly more than a healthy Kyrie away from contention, and the rival Rockets, Thunder, and Spurs were all suddenly doing laps around Dallas. At this point, Nico Harrison had evolved into the single biggest villain in the Metroplex, far surpassing Brian Abreu. With the fallacy of being closer to winning the finals with AD instead of Luka finally apparent to Dumas, possibly thanks to this guy, the city finally got what it wanted on November 11th, 2025, when Nico Harrison was fired.
Pointing to a disappointing start of this season, the Dallas Mavericks fired the team's general manager, Nico Harrison, today.
Sorry for Nico Harrison, good dude, but at the end of the day, you traded Luka Doncic. And if you're trading Luka Doncic, you can't be 3-8 on the season with Anthony Davis already missing 3 games and having minimal impact to the success of the Dallas Mavericks while Kyrie Irving is out injured, while Luka Doncic is averaging 40.
With that, our 3 subjects are finally separated after a roller coaster of a 4-year stretch. Nico Harrison was fired in November 2025 because that month represented rock bottom.
Like at the start of the season, the Mavericks felt was a tailspin. A 3-8 start. If it was flipped, if we were looking at 8-3, Nico Harrison would not be fired. But he set the standards of competing for a championship. He said after making the Luka Doncic trade that time will tell about whether he was right. He said even in April after the Kyrie Irving injury that he was going to miss most of the season with, that they're going to have championship contention ability this season. It's been neither. They've been one of the worst teams in the NBA.
The Mavericks had to do this deal today, not this deal, but this move today to save their brand. They were suffering deeply within their own market, and it was negatively affecting their players. The idea that this trade was controversial, we knew from the second after Shams hit that tweet last February. But the way that it's been managed, particularly by Nico, has been terrible. The idea of trading Luka Doncic is a controversial one, but you can make a basketball case for it. I don't think it's a winning case. You can make a case for it. What Nico has said to sell it to the fan base has been a complete failure from the day after it happened, and that is why it got to this position.
When that trade was made, there are more Luka jerseys in the audience, as you saw, even Lakers Luka jerseys, than there are Cooper Flagg. Nico Harrison was the focal point for Mavericks fans. That was not healthy. That was not productive. The Mavericks players felt that they were at a home court disadvantage.
Quote, no one associated with the Mavericks organization is happy with the start of what we all believed would be a promising season. You have high expectations for the Mavericks, and I share them with you. When the results do not meet expectations, it is my responsibility to act. I understand the profound impact that these difficult last several months have had. Our goal is to return to winning basketball to Dallas and to win championship.
Anthony Davis was injured, the team's 2-decade sellout streak was lost, and the franchise's public image post-media frenzy / Luka smear campaign was destroyed. It didn't help matters that on November 28th, Luka and the Lakers beat the Mavs to drop them to 10 games under 500 on the season. The loss of the non-COVID season sellout streak represented the low point for fan engagement. Unless you include the public protest on Nowitzki Way, I guess. Yeah, that was pretty bad. The city that 18 months earlier had Patrick Mahomes, Emmitt Smith, and Dirk Nowitzki sitting courtside for a finals game had lost its sellout streak for no good reason.
Why did this move have to happen?
Well, I think there's just too many distractions, too much going on to keep going this way. This move should have probably happened this summer, honestly. I didn't want this negative energy and this black cloud over the Cooper Flag era, but here we are now. I just knew, I figured this fan base is a passionate and loyal fan base. I was lucky enough to experience it for 21 years, and I knew they weren't just get over it, as people say, or forget about it. They're extremely passionate, and this trade just made no sense. It made no sense to them, and really there was no explanation for it either.
I think Molly Morrison said it best in an article that month. The following is an excerpt from an article entitled, "Dallas is Still Broken."
Every so often, a city is blessed with drafting a true superstar, a player who doesn't just shine, but radiates. And when that superstar not only puts on the jersey, but wears it with pride, choosing the city back, love becomes devotion. Every season is meaningful, simply due to the knowledge that you have him on your side. You love him for everything he is and everything he isn't, knowing that in a league filled with suitors desperate to offer their brightest jewels for a chance to walk beside him, he chooses you. Every insult aimed at him pierces you instead, his battles becoming yours. You fight for him in the streets as he fights for you in the court. You are with him through everything, the growing pains, the insignificant regular season games where he torments his opponents with a smile, the kind of magic you have to see to believe. The highs and lows of playoff runs that weave into a kaleidoscope of the most vivid shared memories. He isn't just a basketball star anymore. He becomes a vital part of the city's heartbeat. So when one person decides to cut the cord while everyone is asleep, the destruction cannot be contained. Luka wasn't undone by his injuries. His story in Dallas didn't end because of time or a desire to part. He was stolen, ripped from the hands of a city that cherished him by those who were entrusted to protect it. Now everybody suffers. We may never know how the Mavericks, after senselessly trading away their franchise player, somehow won the number 1 pick in the 2025 NBA draft despite 1.8% odds. The pick that was guaranteed to be 18-year-old phenom Cooper Flag. Maybe it was dumb luck. Maybe there were handshakes in dark corridors. The fact that we even have to wonder speaks to its absurdity. The number 1 pick is supposed to symbolize hope for a suffering franchise, especially when it leads to a prospect as revered as Cooper Flag. But how sweet can salvation taste when it is laced with betrayal? Dallas is being asked to nurture a new star before they can mourn the one that was taken for them. Just like they didn't ask for any of this, neither did Cooper Flag. Thrusting a teenager into the arms of a grieving fan base and asking him to heal them isn't fair. I don't blame Mavericks fans. I know they don't want Cooper to carry this burden. They are both casualties of the same act, committed from the same tower of greed. Everybody is hurting, except the people who caused it. The fan base that still bleeds. The young star expected to be a savior while trying to find his footing. There is a ghost that lives inside American Airlines Center.
With Nico out the door, the healing process was finally able to start. And slowly but surely, the city of Dallas started seeing glimpses of a force seeking to exorcise the ghost living inside American Airlines Center.
Coming towards this guy. And doing work right now. Cooper Flag again.
In early 2026, Flag's superior downhill and finishing ability was finally starting to distract the fans from the off-the-court chaos in Dallas and the honeymoon stage in Los Angeles. His two-way instincts and ball handling at 6'10 was starting to turn heads the same way that it had in Durham 1 year earlier. On December 15, 2025, Flag set a new record previously held by LeBron James for most points in a game by an 18-year-old with 42.
And here's Coop on the drive. And one kiss is all it takes now to turn things around. The foul was called as well, and Coop can tie it. If he makes this, he's got it 40, and more importantly, the Mavs will have tied the game.
Against his old Duke running mate, Con Knippel, on January 29, 2026, Flagg set a few records. He set the Mavericks rookie scoring record, previously held by Mark Aguirre, the NBA record for points by a teenager, previously held by Cliff Robinson, and became the youngest player in league history to score a 40-point, 10-rebound performance when he went off for 49 against the Charlotte Hornets.
A 4-point play. Here comes Cooper, and down it goes! Cooper Flagg slamming it home. Cooper Flagg. Bam! Wow. Number that I'm focused on as Coop tries to answer. Caught, and he does! Right back action!
Can't let one play who's trying to draw the foul.
Oh, but Flagg hits it over Knipple. Dirk's going to be on the broadcast in the third quarter. This, what does that look like? Now here's Coop, and he's going to drive on Brandon Miller, gliding to the basket, and there's a new Maverick rookie.
Good team.
All right, ball into Cooper with 46 points. A three would tie it. That's what he takes. Are you kidding me?
The current Rookie of the Year favorite is scoring 20 points, 6.6 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 stocks per game. He is having the most impressive rookie season we've seen since either Luka's back in 2019, Victor Wembanyama's in 2024, or, funny enough, Con Knippel's in 2026. With his ascent, life has been breathed back into what was the single worst fan base to have been a part of in 2025. Better yet, Flagg's ascent gave the Mavericks organization the comfort to do the one thing that needed to be done. This brings us to the 2026 trade deadline. 2 years prior, this date marked the beginning of a run of contention in Dallas. In 2026, this date marked the official white flag of the most brief and shameful theoretical run of contention since the Derrick Rose-Carmelo Knicks.
This is a trade deadline week stunner. Anthony Davis, the 10-time NBA All-Star, has been traded to the Washington Wizards. So the Wizards are acquiring a future Hall of Fame big man. The Mavericks are getting back some players, a couple of young players.
On February 4th, 2026, the Mavericks shipped Anthony Defense Wins Championships Davis and a trio of underwhelming guards to the island of misfit contracts, also known as the Washington Wizards. In exchange, Dallas received expiring Chris Middleton, some non-premium draft capital, and a trio of underwhelming contracts that include Marvin Bagley.
You know, the fans, they've been in an uproar about this Luka Doncic trade. So with Anthony Davis moving on, it's basically going to bring closure to what I call a generational trade.
The day of the trade, the Mavs sat at 19-31 on the season. Too bad to compete with the contenders, and just too talented to compete with the shameless. A place known by Mark Cuban as NBA Purgatory. Let me be clear though, I do not want to poke too much fun at the Mavs here, because this trade was by far the best and most sensible move that the franchise has pulled off since the Klay signing. Dallas was in purgatory. They had backed themselves into a corner by flipping a face of the franchise top 3 to 5 talent in the league for an aging, brittle star, only to be saved by the divine, or corrupt, depending on how much you believe in the conspiracy theories, intervention that was the Cooper Flagg lottery ball.
And you traded Luka Doncic, a 25-year-old global iconic basketball superstar, for a guy in Anthony Davis that has been relatively injury prone. We all know that Anthony Davis is good for 28 and 12 a night when he's healthy. He got that kind of game. The problem is that his availability has religiously been a question mark. And not only that, he didn't necessarily have box office appeal.
Flagg showed the new management that they had a face of the franchise anyways, making a Davis salary dump stomachable. Maybe it's a problem that the new management needed to wait and see on the doomed situation until after Davis had gone down for the year for the umpteenth time, but whatever. Right now, we're still very much in a taking wins where we can find them period with the Mavericks organization. By getting rid of Davis's hefty contract and the fallacy of contention under the defense wins championships mindset, the team is now able to fully align with the timeline of its most valuable asset. A painful but necessary admission of wrongdoing in order to set up the team better for future success. It feels somewhat fitting that after the events of February 1st, 2025 to February 4th, 2026, the Dallas Mavericks wound up ultimately with Marvin Bagley, one of the 2 players foolishly selected ahead of Luka Doncic in the 2018 NBA draft. Somehow, after everything, after the bubble buzzer beater, after 60-20-10, After the most lopsided Game 7 in a generation, after 73 in Atlanta, after 5 straight first-team All-NBAs, and after the finals run of 24, the Mavs turned out to be no more competent than the Sacramento Kings, who had passed on the Wonder Boy as an 18-year-old, leaving Dallas ultimately in a similar place, fearing possible relocation and clinging to lottery hope. Okay, now that we've covered everything from February 1st, 2025 to February 5th, 2026, we can finally move on to part 4, analyzing was this at all justified.